Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, and today we're getting some more Season 6 Ultra League Premier Cup Go Battle League battles. Alright, I got a solid feature for you guys. It's a feature of Skarmory in some Ultra League Premier Cup, and it's an XL Skarmory, which is a pretty rare Pokemon to get your hands on, and I'm excited to see the kind of play it's going to have in Ultra League Premier Cup Go Battle League battles. Now, the reason why it's so rare is because you need the XL Skarmory in order to allow it to fulfill its maximum potential in PvP for Ultra League, because at level 40, it hits like 2100 CP or something along those lines. So you really need that level 50, that boost on it. And it gets literally, I think, to 2383. I think this Skarmory is actually like right on the level 50 mark and is fully maxed out. I will double check for the title to make sure of that. But regardless, this is definitely an XL Skarmory. And I'm excited to see what kind of effect it's going to have on the Ultra League Premier Cup meta. And I'm really excited to see the effect all the XL Pokemon are going to have when everybody starts to get their hands on it and the Premier Cup meta start to adapt based on that. So now, they had a pretty positive lead with Gallade on Venusaur. Their opponent swapped. They swapped a little bit late. They're matching with their Skarmory. They decide to shield. They call the close combat here, which is huge. Maybe the opponent decided to throw the close combat early, assuming that with all that health, that and plus the move being thrown early, that the Skarmory wouldn't shield there, and they called that big move, which is going to be important here. Now, a slight mistake is throwing this Sky Attack here. Just like in Great League, in Ultra League, Skarmory is going to wall Venusaur really hard, and the fact that their opponent decided to shield that's an even bigger mistake. They should have let Venusaur go down, because these Frenzy Plants, double resisted, doing absolutely nothing. Definitely going to commit to the farm down here now, and we're going to find out what their opponent's last Pokemon is going to be. They're going to go for another charge move here. Most likely should be another Frenzy Plant. Both Frenzy Plant and Sludge Bomb are double resisted by Skarmory, and Frenzy Plant is a better move, so that was another mistake by the opponent. And then their last Pokemon is an Empoleon, which definitely could have benefited from having the shields. Now, I don't think it would have allowed their opponent to win this match, but it would have made this match closer. They throw a Brave Bird there, which really hurts. It did about a third of the Empoleon's health there. They swap into Gallade, and they end up throwing the Leaf Blade when they could have gotten to the close combat. They might have been worried because of their late swap. The Empoleon would have gotten to a Drill Peck, and they didn't want to let all that energy go to waste, so I really don't blame them. Plus, they have Swampert in the back that is going to have no problem finishing off this Empoleon from its current health. So this is going to be GG's for match number 1, and Skarmory's already out here tanking moves and putting in some serious work. Now, keep in mind, these battles are, I think, ranked 13 or 14. We'll see in just a moment. So there might be some slight misplays here and there, and I have no problem trying to critique so that everybody that's watching can improve along the way. I definitely wanted to see some Skarmory in action, and honestly, I don't really mind what rank it's at, just because of the fact that I'm sure these are going to be some close battles and some well played out battles, and I really want to see how much damage and how valuable XL Skarmory is going to be for this meta. So, getting to this next match, they have a neutral lead, Gallade on Gallade. They click on the Leaf Blade while also throwing a Confusion, and I think both the other Glade got the Confusion through also, so this is a pretty solid mirror match. They swap into their own Skarmory, their opponent stays in, farms up a little bit, and now Skarmory is going to meet one of its walls in the Ultra League Premier Cup meta, which is going to be Magnezone. This is going to be a wall because the electric damage coming from Magnezone is going to be dealing super effective damage to Skarmory, plus Magnezone will resist or double resist. It should be a double resistance with the electric and the steel typing. If I'm wrong, guys, please do correct me in the comment section. Just know that when Battle Bill gets all his typings down, he will be the most elite battler that you've ever seen on the face of the planet. But anyhow, they let Skarmory go down, knowing that it's a lost cause, unfortunately, in this situation. And that is one thing you should keep in mind, because if Skarmories do become more accessible and maxing them out and they're being used in Ultra League a lot more, you want to make sure you're prepared with counters to deal with it. Magnezone, a solid counter for Skarmory in Ultra League Premier Cup. So, they bring in Swampert. They're going to they look like they were going to commit to a Mud Shot down, but unfortunately they CMP tied. Clicked on the Hydro Cannon. Honestly, probably should have just completely undercharged it because their opponent wasn't going to shield. But even an undercharged Hydro Cannon probably would have taken out the debuffed Magnezone. They pull off a solid swap to get their Swampert out of a very bad situation, but I don't know how this match is going to go. It looks like, oh yeah, this is definitely going to be GG's. The Empoleon is going to Waterfall down the Gallade, and that Gallade on the opponent's side definitely has some additional energy, and a Leaf Blade would one-shot Swampert, plus they have a shield. Empoleon is going to throw these Hydro Cannons. He unfortunately doesn't have Earthquake, and honestly, even if he did, the Gallade with the shield is just going to be too much for the Swampert to handle, and even at its current health, because that Hydro Cannon went through, Confusion would take it out. But they're going to double Hydro Cannon. They're going to keep this match close. Honestly, there wasn't too much they could do here. They had an even lead. I mean, I guess there is something they could have done here. They had an even lead, and maybe not swapping out would have been the better play, just to play it out, see how it goes. Potentially win based on just throwing charge moves at the right time or getting extra confusions through, which is always through the game mechanics itself. It wouldn't have been a guaranteed way of winning the match, but definitely playing out the lead instead of swapping would have helped him there. And maybe you could line up Skarmory with Empoleon, but both Pokemon on the back of the opposing side were going to both counter Skarmory pretty hard. So it was unfortunate that they couldn't line the Skarmory up the Gallade there. So getting to this third match, they have a Gallade on a Scizor lead, and I don't think this is going to be a positive lead either. The Night Slashes from Gallade are going to hurt, but it looks like they're going to play this out the smart way, get to the close combat, and then dip. This close combat will be neutral because of Scizor's bug and steel typing, but it would still put in a ton of work, pretty much putting it in the red. So then they swap into Skarmory, and their opponent decides to stay in. Now, the difference between Scizor and Magnezone, actually Magnezone's pretty glassy too, but Scizor is taking neutral damage from all of these flying attacks, the air slashes and the sky attacks, things along those lines, whereas Magnezone is double resisting like we mentioned earlier, and plus Scizor is pretty glassy. Magnezone's glassy also, but you'll see that Skarmory is tanking these Night Slashes no problem. They built up to a solid amount of energy there to throw before their opponent got through another Night Slash, which either would have forced a shield or let the Scizor go down. So considering the fact the opponent didn't swap and the Skarmory came in, they might not be in the worst situation. The opponent definitely should have went into Swampert here, just because of the fact that it would have helped like keep their matchup more neutral here when the Skarmory swap. Just kind of match it and keep Scizor on the Gallade in the back. That's now in the back. You definitely don't want Swampert on the Gallade, even though now the Swampert's on the Skarmory regardless. I'm just kind of just talking through some critiques on what the opponent should have done there. They pull off a solid swap here that's going to sacrifice the Gallade. They're going to let this Hydro Cannon go through, and it's going to clear the debuff from throwing the Brave Bird that landed on the Swampert, which was pretty insane, the amount of damage that it did. So now they come into their Swampert. They'll probably shield. Oh, they're not going to shield this charge move. They most likely will commit to a Mud Shot down as long as the opposing Swampert doesn't get to another Hydro Cannon. I haven't been paying the best attention to energy, but they are able to Mud Shot it down there, which is going to be huge. The last Pokemon the opponent has is an Arcanine. Boy, is that some spice. Well, this is GG. They're at 2 Hydro Cannons. This one will get the shield. The next one will probably one-shot the Arcanine. Unfortunately, Arcanine's most play is probably a Master Premier. In Ultra League, it's just too glassy. And, wow, all right, you know what? I'll give it some props. It survived the Hydro Cannon, but pretty much got Mud Shot down. They'll get to a charge move here. This could be a crunch. This will probably be a crunch. Oh, Wild Charge, okay. I mean, debuff yourself. And now go for the Hydro Cannon. The bubbles aren't needed. The Mud Shot would have done the job. I think that was a CMP tie, which is why that happened, or maybe it was just a click just to be safe afterwards. But, you know, between these matches so far, they've taken 2 out of the first 3. And Skarmory definitely put in some solid work, doing well against the Scizor, doing well against the Gallade and the Venusaur in the first match, and also Brave Birding the heck out of that Swampert, which was a lot of damage. I didn't really get to emphasize that because I was in the middle of talking about something else there. So, let's get into the 4th match that we have here and see how it goes. We have Gallade on Swampert lead. This is a pretty positive matchup for the Gallade, just because of the fact that the Hydro Cannon does not one-shot the Swampert. So now the opponent comes in with a Gallade of their own as a safe swap, and this is a slight mistake. Definitely want to keep that energy for Swampert endgame and come into your hard counter of Skarmory, but the opponent shields, so it's not the worst thing in the world. So they got the shield, which means that if the Swampert would have stayed in, it probably would have shielded the Leaf Blade regardless. So I guess it's kind of a moot point in this situation. The opponent then throws a Leaf Blade. They get baited, unfortunately. I wonder now, after all that energy was thrown, if he wanted to commit to the farm down. They did not. They didn't want to take a chance of a close combat potentially coming through. I'm sure it would put in some work against Skarmory, but it's not a Shadow Gallade, so I'm sure Skarmory would have been able to survive it too. They undercharged, but ended up taking out the Gallade, and then they come in with a Gengar. So what they probably want to do here... Okay, the opponent just gave up on the match. I guess that works too. They won lead, they won swap. I guess they felt like Gengar with a shield wasn't going to be enough to handle the Skarmory, handle the Gallade with the super effective confusions, and then handle the fact that there's a fully healthy Pokemon in the back there of Swampert. So, you know, Skarmory's just scaring away the competition at this point. And getting into the 5th match of the set, we have another positive lead here with Gallade on Swampert. The opponent swaps into Charizard, and they must have misclicked. They safe swapped into Skarmory. This cannot go well. A Blast Burn's got a one-shot of Skarmory at this health. They're going to shield this. It's going to end up being a Blast Burn, so good call on potential bait that comes through. They get to the Sky Attack. Unfortunately, the opponent's Charizard's Fire Spin does come through, and it looks like they're probably going to lose Switch Advantage here unless... Oh, this is not a... Wait, no, this is a Fire Spin. I was getting confused in the animations. They're going to let this charge move go through. It ends up being a Dragon Claw that... Oh my lord, they're getting another charge move off. They're letting it go through. This should be another Dragon Claw here. Skarmory will survive it. They're going to get off a charge move. If the Charizard doesn't shield this, I think that'd be a mistake on their part because they really need switch. The Sky Attack's going through. They don't shield, and a Skarmory just countered a Charizard in Ultra League battles in even shielding. That has to be taken note of. That was even shielding. Yes, they threw two Dragon Claws, and they could have got into a Blast Burn with all that energy, but their opponent decided to bait. There were shields there. One shield used a piece there, and Skarmory kept switch advantage. That is actually insane. Try the swap out there. Unfortunately, it was a CMP tie. Charge was going to come through from the Swampert. They're going to shield an Earthquake. Great call. I feel like Earthquake would have probably taken out the Glade's remaining health, even though Hydro Cannon was definitely the better play. Their opponent comes in with a Machamp to try and close out this match. They could have stayed in with Gallade here and honestly just swept their back line with Gallade, but they come in with Swampert, I guess, just to keep things lined up because that's just a comfortable way to play here. Got a little bit of lag. Ended up, I guess, being a CMP tie because the Hydro Cannon just went through here. This is not going to take out the Machamp. It's going to get it really low, though. And honestly, even if the Machamp gets to another charge move, they're over farming like crazy. The Machamp should have been at a cross shot by now, but I guess they wanted to have some health remaining on the Swampert so that their Swampert could maybe get some energy advantage and potentially beat the Glade in the back. I guess that was their logic because the Machamp definitely was at a cross chop there. But they could have let their Swampert also, the Marvel could have let, right? I feel like I'm butchering his name and I can't go back and check. But he could have definitely let his Swampert go down there and then Gallade could have finished endgame. But either way, this should be fine. This will be an Earthquake. And it's not fine because Gallade goes down to that Earthquake, but ends up still being fine because the Swampert is still alive. Big play, keeping that Swampert alive and swapping the way they did, and Swampert ends up clutching the match, while Gallade eats a huge move from the opposing Swampert. Sorry, I got on that side tangent, and I missed that part as I'm staring at the screen and staring at the camera. Oh, is this a 6 match? Did I put a 6 match in here? I might have put a 6 match in here, but let's watch it. So we got Gallade on an Obstagoon lead here. This is only a positive for the Gallade if it can land the close combats. So I think in the 2 shields, the Obstagoon should win this. In the 1 and the no shields, Gallade definitely does. But somebody can correct me again, like usual in the comment section. Unfortunately, they did not build up to a close combat, so the opponent probably counted the confusions and knew that that was only going to be a Leaf Blade, so that was definitely a slight mistake. Should at least build up to the close combat, even if you're not going to throw it. The opponent gets a boost on their Obstagoon. This is not good. Skarmory will not counter Obstagoon that well, especially here in Ultra, where Obstagoon has more bulk, because Obstagoon's not a fighter. So as much as it's dealing the fighting moves, those fighting moves are dealing neutral damage to Skarmory because it's steel and flying typing. So let's see how this is going to play out. They get to a Sky Attack here. It gets the opponent's shield. They seem like they want to commit to their Obstagoon just based on the fact they got the boost. Can't blame them, especially because the counter for the Obstagoon isn't like a super hard counter like a regular fighter. They double boosted! Oh no, this is not looking great. So can they get to the Sky Attack here to try and take out the Obstagoon's remaining health? But considering the Obstagoon double boosted, they might double shield this, and they do. They're going to commit to a counter down to the Skarmory, and this is not a great situation to be in. Oh no, they come in with the Swampert. Are they going to be able to try and pull out this match? I mean, I'll be honest, Skarmory at least like got some shields and put the Obstagoon low, and it was handling the damage considering it was a double boosted goon and handling the counters. I gotta like give it its credit there, because like they did at least keep a shield. That Night Slash did an insane amount of damage. They're over farming. Definitely cannot take another Night Slash there from the Obstagoon. They're going to undercharge this Hydro Cannon. It's still going to take out the Obstagoon regardless. The question is, what is the opponent's back line, and can these two very low HP Pokemon beat the back line? Well, they come in with the Swampert, so if you want a chance of winning this match with little HP, Swampert is something you want to see, because this Leaf Blade will one-shot the Swampert, and then they come in with a Lapras. That's 2-3 Ice Shards. Can they get... Ooh, they weren't going to get to the close combat. The Lapras would have outpaced it to the Surf. They go for the super effective Leaf Blade. This will not take out the Lapras. It will get it really low, but they see CMP tie, which is big. That will give Swampert a chance to potentially take out the Lapras here, depending on energy and health. Oh, this is going to be so close, and they just outpaced the Lapras to the Sludge Wave, and this will take out the remaining health of the Lapras here and win this 6th match, 5th match. I don't even know anymore, but that match was insane. Skarmory did some work here. It did get the shields that were necessary in order for Gallade to absolutely annihilate the Swampert there, and for the Swampert to then take out the opposing opponent's Lapras after the Gallade did its work there. So overall, some really great play from this team comp, and what I saw from Skarmory is extremely impressive. So if you have a Skarmory nest near you, I highly advise finding yourself a Hundo Skarmory and collecting as many XL candies as you possibly can so you can max it out to that 2383 mark. I'm pretty sure that is the max Hundo CP of XL Skarmory at level 50. Honestly, probably want to best buddy it too, because best buddying it might put it like right over 2400, and with that that'll be like maximum potential because it won't go over the Ultra League mark. But other than that, let me know what you thought of Skarmory in some Ultra League Premier Cup Go Battle League battles. I'm definitely excited to get my hands on one, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Honestly, it's been going such a long way. Views have been up on the channel. I find it so interesting just because of the fact that I feel like my quality has regressed, and I promise I'm working on getting it back to the type of quality you expect from me and my channel. And yeah, that's just all in the works, but you guys are still watching the content, and I cannot thank you enough. And like I said, the subs really just do go a long way in helping me continue to put out this content. I promise I'm going to be improving it continuously as I continue to put out content. But anyhow, on that note, I'll see you guys in the next video.